Alright guys, to make our Plorp the pig, we are going to go ahead and we are going to get some yarn. For this tutorial, we're going to be using Paintbox Yarn's Cotton DK. Our main body color is going to be Candy Floss Pink, and we're going to need about 150 yards of this, so that is just a little over one skein. So you're going to need 2 skeins. For our accent yarn, we're going to go ahead and use Blush Pink. We use very little of this. We only use about 40 yards of this, so 1 skein is plenty and you're going to have some left over. Now for your eyes, you're going to use either 14mm safety eyes, or you're going to need some black yarn. Now you're going to need black yarn for inside the nostrils. However, if you are using safety eyes, you can just simply use some of your light pink leftover inside the nostrils of the snout. You do not need to get black yarn just for that. However, if you have it for scrap yarn, that'll work as well. If you are making yarn eyes, you are going to need white yarn as well, so that you can go ahead and do your accents in the eyes. Plorp's stitched on eyes have a very kawaii style, so you're going to need a little bit of white yarn, probably about 10 yards, give or take, probably less. And this is all Paintbox Cotton DK that we have right here. What you are also going to need is you're going to need a piece of cardboard if you want to do the wrapped heart option. Now there are 2 heart options for Plorp. We're going to simply just wrap some cardboard to give it the appeal that it is just a wrapped yarn ball, and then the cardboard's going to be for support, or we can go ahead and make a 3D heart. Now the 3D heart tutorial is actually a separate tutorial of mine that I'm going to link down below, and it is my Hope Heart keychain, only without the face and the ribbon. So this here is using Aran weight yarn. We're going to be using worsted weight or Aran weight. I am using Paintbox Yarn Cotton Aran in Kingfisher Blue, and this uses very little yarn. This uses about 25 yards, if that. Roughly 25 yards for the plush heart. However, if you're going to wrap the yarn, you do use about the same, if not a little bit more, because it's just simply wrapped around. Aside from that, you're going to go ahead and need a 2.75mm hook for the pig. If you are making the Amigurumi heart with the other tutorial, you are also going to need a 4mm hook, because that is what we will use for that. You're going to need a stitch marker, you're going to need a yarn needle, and you're going to need your scissors, as well as you are going to need some polyfill stuffing. To make the cheeks on Plorp, what you're going to go ahead and need is you're going to need either a piece, a small accent piece of a different color pink, or you can simply use blush. You can use pastels, you can use paint, you can needle felt on the cheeks. The cheeks are however you'd like to make them. I just used a very little bit of scrap piece that I had of bubblegum pink Paintbox Aran that I just had sitting around. It was just enough to just do the 2 little cheeks, and that is it. Alternately, you could also just use the same pink as the snout and just add them on as the cheeks. Okay, to make the body, we're going to go ahead and take our main color yarn. We're going to be working in the round, and we're going to want to stuff as we go. So to start round 1, we're going to go ahead and make a magic ring, chain 1, and then we're going to place 6 single crochet into this magic ring. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and pull that close, and we're going to have 6 stitches. Now going on to round 2, we're going to go ahead and we're going to place 2 single crochet into each one of the stitches around. We're going to go ahead and mark that first stitch so we don't lose our place. Again, I like to make 2 stitches before I place a stitch marker, just for ease. So we're going to go ahead and put that into the last stitch that we worked, and then we're going to do 2 more stitches in each of the stitches around. When we get to the stitch marker, we're going to go ahead and start round 3. Round 3, we're going to go ahead and we're going to place 2 single crochet into that first stitch. So I'm going to place 2 single crochet And then we're going to go ahead and place 1 single crochet into the next stitch. And then this repeat, we're going to go ahead and we are going to do 5 more times until we reach the stitch marker. So 2 single crochet and then 1 single crochet. Okay, at the end of round 3, we're going to have 18 stitches. I'm going to go ahead and start onto round 4. In round 4, we're going to go ahead and place 2 single crochet into that first stitch. And then we're going to go ahead and place a single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. And we're going to go ahead and repeat that around 5 more times until we hit the stitch marker, and we have 24 stitches around. Okay, and at the end of round 4, we're going to go ahead and remove our stitch marker. We're going to go ahead and start round 5. And for round 5, we're going to place 2 single crochet into the next stitch. Mark that stitch. And then we're going to place a single crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to go ahead and repeat this 5 more times around until we hit the stitch marker. So we're going to do 2 single crochet followed by 3 single crochet. And we're going to wind up with 30 stitches at the end of the round. Okay. And at the end of round 5, we have 30 stitches. We're going to move on to round 6. For round 6, we're going to place 2 single crochet into the first stitch. I'm going to mark that stitch. Then we're going to go ahead and place a single crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to place this 5 more times around until we have 36 stitches at the end of round 6. At the end of round 6, we're going to have 36 stitches around, and we're going to go ahead and start on round 7. For round 7, we're going to go ahead and place 2 single crochet into that first stitch. And we're going to go ahead and place a single crochet into each of the next 5 stitches. And we're going to go ahead and repeat this 5 more times around until we hit the stitch marker, and we're going to end up with 42 stitches around. Okay, at the end of round 7, we're going to have 42 stitches around, and we're going to go ahead and start round 8. For round 8, we're going to go ahead and place 2 single crochet into that first stitch. And we're going to go ahead and place a single crochet into each of the next 6 stitches. And then we're going to go ahead and repeat this section 5 more times around until we hit the stitch marker. So we're going to go ahead, place 2 single crochet followed by 6 single crochet, and we're going to wind up with 48 stitches around. Okay, at the end of round 8, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start round 9. And round 9, we're going to place 2 single crochet into that first stitch. And then we're going to go ahead and place a single crochet into each of the next 7 stitches. And now we're going to go ahead and repeat that 5 more times around until we hit the stitch marker, and we're going to wind up with 54 stitches at the end of round 9. Okay, at the end of round 9, we have 54 stitches around. We're going to go ahead and start the next section. Now this next section is going to be our repeats that are going to make up the majority of the body section. And to make these, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and place a single crochet into each stitch around for a total of 14 rounds between rounds 10 and 23. So go ahead and just start working those single crochets around, making sure to mark the first stitch of each round. Again, I do 2 so I can place the marker easier. And then we're just going to repeat this 14 rounds. Okay, now that we have finished up through round 23 and we have 54 stitches around, we're going to go ahead and start on round 24. For round 24, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and decrease by single crocheting the first 2 stitches together, and then we're going to go ahead and place a single crochet into each of the next 7 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And we're going to go ahead and repeat that 5 more times around until we wind up with 48 stitches worked around round 24. So we're going to go ahead and single crochet 2 together and then into each of the next 7 stitches. Okay, at the end of round 24, we're going to go ahead and start on round 25. And for round 25, all we are going to do is place a single crochet into each of the stitches around, and we're going to end up with 48 stitches. So place that marker so you know where to work to, and go ahead and work around. Okay, at the end of round 25, we're going to go ahead and start on round 26. And for round 26, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to single crochet the first 2 stitches together, and then we're going to single crochet into the next 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And now we're going to go ahead and repeat this section 5 more times around until we hit the stitch marker, and we're going to end this round at 42 stitches. So we're going to single crochet 2 together and then single crochet into each of the next 6 stitches. Okay, and at the end of round 26, we'll have 42 stitches around, and we're going to go ahead and start works on rounds 27 and 28. Round 27 and 28 are the same thing, and what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and place a single crochet into each one of the 42 stitches around, and we're going to do that for 2 rounds. So, okay, now at the end of round 28, we're going to go ahead and we are going to start stuffing, just to start getting the shape in. So go ahead and place your stuffing inside. And my hook fell out, but that's okay because that tends to happen. Just make sure you don't tuck in your yarn and lose your stitch. So we're just going to go ahead and stuff it up. Now we're not going to actually need to stuff this completely. We just want to start getting it into the bottom so we can start shaping it easier, as we're going to come down one more set of decreases before we continue on to the head. So just go ahead and stuff up that body. That's good for now. We'll stuff a little bit more later. Okay, for rounds 29, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to single crochet together the first 2 stitches. So we're going to single crochet 2 together, and then we're going to single crochet into each of the next 5 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we're going to go ahead and repeat this 5 more times around till we hit the stitch marker. So we're going to single crochet 2 together and then single crochet into the next 5 stitches. Okay, at the end of round 29, we're going to have 36 stitches around, and we're going to go ahead and make rounds 30 and 31. And for rounds 30 and 31, we're just going to single crochet into each one of the stitches around, and we're going to have 2 rounds of 36 stitches. So start your round and place your stitch marker, and then we're going to go ahead and do this twice. So 36 stitches around. Okay, at the end of round 31, we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut our yarn off, and we're going to go ahead and pull our stitch through, and then we're going to go ahead and take our needle and we're going to go ahead and fasten this off. We're going to thread our needle, and we're going to skip a stitch and we're going to go place our stitch into the next, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to go down the center of the last stitch we made, and we're going to pull it through. And what we did is we just basically went over the one stitch, creating a smooth line and without losing any stitch count. So that is our body. I'm just going to go ahead and bring it through and just snip off the extra. And we have our body piece of our pig. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and start our snout. Our snout is going to be worked with our accent color yarn, and we're going to be working in the round, but we are going to be starting around a chain. So in order to go ahead and do this, we're going to go ahead and make a slip knot, and we're going to go ahead and chain 4, 2, 3, and 4. Now we're going to go ahead and work into the back bump of the chain. This is the front side, and then if you turn it around, you have a bump right there, and we're going to be working underneath that. And we're going to go ahead and place a single crochet into our second chain from the hook. We're going to go ahead and place a single crochet into the next chain, and then we're going to go ahead and place 3 single crochets into the last chain. One, 2, and we're going to be rotating our piece as we do this. We're not turning it, but what we're going to do is rotate it around, because we're now going to continue on the other side of the chain, and we're going to work underneath the stitches there, and we're going to go ahead and place a single crochet into your next chain, which is the middle chain. And then what we're going to go ahead and do is into the last chain, we're going to place 2 single crochet. And it's going to bring 8 stitches in total for round 1. And we're going to have this little oval. So for round 2, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to place 2 single crochet into the next stitch. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to mark our first one. And then we're going to go ahead and place a single crochet into the next stitch. And now we're going to place 2 single crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. So 1, 2, I made my stitches a little too tight here, so you want to try to make them a little bit looser. So I'm going to put 2 stitches in here, 1, and then we're going to do 2 stitches into the next stitch. Then we're going to go ahead and place 1 single crochet into the next stitch, and then we're going to place 2 single crochet into the next 2 stitches. So 1, 2, and 1, 2. And at the end of round 2, we are going to have 14 stitches around. So now for round 3, we're going to go ahead and place 2 single crochet into the first stitch. We're going to mark that first stitch made. Then we're going to single crochet into the next stitch. We're going to single crochet into the next stitch. Now we're going to go ahead and place 2 single crochet into the next stitch, and we're going to place 1 single crochet into the next stitch. Now these last 2 stitch repeats, the 2 and the 1, we're going to repeat 2 more times into the increases that we made in the previous round. So we're going to do 2 single crochet, and then 1, 2, 1, and then we're going to go ahead and place a single crochet into that next stitch, and now we're going to do the 2 single crochet and 1 2 more times into the last 4 stitches. So 1, 2, and 1, 1, 2, and 1. And we're going to end round 3 at 20 stitches. So round 4, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to place 2 single crochet into the next stitch, the first stitch of round 4. Then we're going to single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. And then we're going to go ahead and single crochet into the next stitch. And now we're going to set up our next repeat that we're going to do 3 times, and that's going to be single crochet increase, so 2 single crochet, and then single crochet in the next 2 stitches. And we're going to repeat that 2 more times over the next 6 stitches. So we're going to do increase, so 2 single crochet, and then 1, 2, and then we're going to do 2 single crochet, and then 1, 2, and now we're going to go ahead and place a single crochet into the next stitch, and then we're going to do that repeat that we just did 2 more times. So 2 single crochet, 1, 2, and then 2 single crochet, and 1 and 2. Now for round 5, what we're going to go ahead and do is we are going to single crochet into each stitch around. However, we are only going to work in the back loop. So we're going to make 26 stitches around. So 1, 2, 3, but it's only going to be in the back loop. So make sure we mark our stitch and work a single crochet into each one of the stitches around, only working into the back loop. Okay, now that we're back at our stitch marker, we're going to go ahead and for round 6, we're going to do the same thing, only we're going to be working underneath both stitches. So for round 6, we're going to go ahead and place a single crochet in each one of the 26 stitches around. Okay, at the end of the round, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to cut our yarn and snip it off. We're going to go ahead and take our needle, and we're going to go ahead and thread our needle, and then we're just going to go ahead and we're going to skip the next stitch. We're going to work our needle underneath, and then we're going to come on up, and we're going to work underneath the next loop and the little loop behind there going in from the center, and we're just going to go ahead and pull that, even it out, and then there you go. And we're going to save this yarn tail because we're going to be using this to sew on the snout. And there you have it, our snout. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and make the head. We're going to be working in our body colored yarn, and we're going to be working in the round. So we're going to go ahead and make a magic ring. And for the head, we are going to go ahead and place 8 single crochet into the magic round. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and pull this closed. Now for round 2, we are going to go ahead and we are going to place 2 single crochet into the first stitch, and then we're going to go ahead and place 2 single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. So 1, 2, and 3, and then we're going to go ahead and place single crochet into the next stitch. And then we're going to repeat this 1 more time. So we're going to do 2 single crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. And then we're going to single crochet into the last stitch. Okay. Now for round 3, we're going to go ahead and we're going to place 2 single crochet into the next stitch. Go ahead and mark that. And now we're going to go ahead and single crochet into the next stitch. And we're going to repeat this 2 more times. So we're going to do 2 single crochet and single crochet, 2 single crochet, and a single crochet. And then what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to single crochet into the next stitch, and then we're going to go ahead and repeat the 2 single crochet and single crochet, repeat 3 more times. So single crochet, single crochet, 2 single crochet, 2 single crochet, and then we're just going to single crochet into that last stitch, and we're going to end the round at 20 stitches around. So for round 4, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to do 3 repeats. So we're going to do 2 single crochet, and then we're going to go ahead and single crochet into the next 2 stitches, and then we're going to do this 2 more times. So 2, and then 2, and then 2 more stitches, and then we're going to go ahead and single crochet into the next stitch, and then we're going to go into another 3 repeats of the same repeat that we did starting the round. So 1, 2 stitches into 1, and then 2 stitches and 2. So 2 single crochet, and then single crochet into the next 2, and 2 single crochet, single crochet into the next 2, and then single crochet into the last. Now when you go ahead and attach your head, what we are doing here is you're going to notice it's an oval and it's not a circle anymore. When you take your head, the sides here are going to be the sides of your head, and this is going to be the front and back. You're going to notice it more once you start to fill in the edges, but the oval lengthwise is going to be like this on the body. So when you attach it to the body, it will be like this. So for round 5, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to single crochet into the next 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we're going to go ahead and place 2 single crochet, 1, 2, and then 2 more single crochet. So the next 2 stitches we're going to have 2 single crochets into each, and now we're going to go ahead and single crochet into the next 11 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And now what we're going to go ahead and do is place 2 single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. So 1, 2, 1, and then we're going to go ahead and single crochet into each of the remaining 7 stitches that are left in this round. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. We're going to end of round 5, we have 30 stitches around. So round 6, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and place 2 single crochet into the first stitch, and then we're going to single crochet into the next 9 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then what we're going to go ahead and do is we are going to repeat this 2 more times until we hit the stitch marker. So we're going to do 2 single crochet followed by 9 single crochets 2 more times around. We're going to end up with 33 stitches at the end of the round. At the end of round 6 we have 33 stitches. We're going to go ahead and start on to round 7, and for round 7 we're going to go ahead and place 2 single crochet into the next stitch, and then we're going to go ahead and single crochet into each of the next 10 stitches around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And we are going to go ahead and repeat this section 2 more times until we hit the stitch marker. So we're going to end up at 36 stitches around. Okay, to go ahead and start round 8, what we're going to go ahead and do is we are going to place 2 single crochet into that first stitch, and then we're going to go ahead and place a single crochet into each of the next 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to repeat this section 5 more times until we hit the stitch marker, and we end up with 42 stitches in round 8. Okay, so at the end of round 8 we have 42 stitches around, and we're going to go ahead and start on round 9. For round 9 we're going to go ahead and place 2 single crochet into that first stitch, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to single crochet into each of the next 6 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we're going to go ahead and repeat this 5 more times until we hit the stitch marker. So we're going to have a total of around 48 stitches in round 9. Okay, at the end of round 9 we have 48 stitches. Now for rounds 10 through 12 we're just going to go ahead and single crochet into each stitch around. So we're going to have 3 rounds total of 48 stitches. So we're going to go ahead and start round 10. And remember to mark it. And now we're just going to go ahead and single crochet around for 3 rounds. Okay, at the end of round 12 we're going to have 3 rounds of 48 stitches, and we're going to continue on to round 13. For round 13 we're going to go ahead and place 2 single crochet into that first stitch, and then we're going to single crochet into each of the next 7 stitches. Six and 7. And then what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to repeat that section 5 more times until we hit the stitch marker. So we're going to do 2 single crochet into 1, single crochet into 7, and we're going to end the round with 54 stitches. Okay, at the end of round 13 we have 54 stitches around. We're going to go ahead and start on round 14. For round 14 we're going to go ahead and place 2 single crochet into that first stitch, marker stitch. Then we're going to go ahead and single crochet into each of the next 8 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, and 8. And then what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to repeat this section 5 more times until we hit the stitch marker. So we're going to have 2 single crochet followed by 8 single crochet. Okay, at the end of round 14 we're going to have 60 stitches around, and we're going to go ahead and get started on rounds 15 through 19. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and place a single crochet into each one of the 60 stitches around. So we're going to have 5 rounds total of 60 stitches. So make sure you are marking to keep track, and then just go ahead and make your 5 rounds of 60 stitches. Okay, so at the end of round 19 we have 5 rounds that we just did of 60 stitches around, and we're going to go ahead and move on to round 20. And for round 20 we're going to go ahead and single crochet 2 together, and then we're going to single crochet into the next 8 stitches. So 1, 2, 3. Let's go ahead and mark that stitch so we don't lose our place, which is now 4 stitches back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So now what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to repeat this 5 more times around until we hit the stitch marker. So we're going to single crochet 2 together and then single crochet into the next 8 stitches. We're going to end the round with 54 stitches around. Okay, so at the end of round 20 we have 54 stitches, and we're going to go ahead and move on to round 21. And for round 21 we're going to go ahead and single crochet the first 2 stitches together, and then we're going to go ahead and we are going to single crochet into each of the next 7 stitches. 2, and 7. And now what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to repeat this 5 more times around until we hit our stitch marker, and we're going to end round 21 with 48 stitches. So we're going to decrease the next 2 stitches with the single crochet 2 together, and then we're going to go ahead and single crochet into the next 7 stitches, and then we're just going to do that around. Okay, at the end of round 21 we have our 48 stitches. We're going to go ahead and move on to round 22, and for round 22 we're going to go ahead and single crochet the first 2 stitches together, and then we're going to single crochet into each of the next 6 stitches. So 1, 2, marker stitch, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And now we're going to go ahead and repeat this 5 more times until we hit the stitch marker, and we're going to have 42 stitches around for round 22. Okay, for round 23 we're going to go ahead and we are going to single crochet the next 2 stitches together, and then we're going to go ahead and single crochet into the next 5 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now we're going to go ahead and repeat this 5 more times until we hit the stitch marker, and we end up with 36 stitches around. So we're going to single crochet 2 together and then single crochet into the next 5 following stitches. Okay, at the end of round 23 and we have our 36 stitches, we're going to go ahead and we're going to fasten off, but we're going to make sure we leave a nice long tail so that we can sew it to the body. We're going to go ahead and pull that through. We're going to take our needle and we're just going to leave a nice smooth edge here and tack that down so that we're not trying to sew it together with one that's much higher. So we're going to skip a stitch, bring it in from the front underneath the top 2 stitches, pull it just a little bit closer, and we're going to go back in through the center of the last stitch that we pulled through. And there you go. Now we're going to go ahead and we are going to stuff our head, making sure we leave that tail out so that we can sew it easy. So we'll go ahead and stuff our head up. Okay, now that we have our head, we are going to have to decide how we want to do our eyes. Are we going to be using safety eyes, in which case we need 2 14mm safety eyes and closures, or are we going to go ahead and do the yarn eyes? I am going to do the yarn eyes for this tutorial so that I can explain how they are done. However, if you are using safety eyes, you want to make sure to insert them now between rounds 14 and 15, and you want there to be 6 visible stitches in between. So 23, 2, 1, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, they're going to go in around here, and I do not want to stretch this out. So we're going to go ahead and take, and we're going to put a pin or a stitch right there. And then what we would do is we would place an eye, 5, 6, 7, so we'd probably put about 7 stitches apart so that we can see 6 stitches in the middle, and then we'd go ahead and close them. But what we're going to go ahead and do is we are going to take our black yarn and we are going to go ahead and we're going to make 2 eyes. And the eyes are very, very simple. I'm going to go ahead and make a magic circle. And we're going to chain 1. And then we're going to go ahead and place 6 single crochet, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we're going to go ahead and pull it close. And then for round 2 of the eyes, we're going to go ahead and place 2 single crochet into each one of the stitches that we just made. And I know it's really hard to see these stitches because of black yarn, but we're going to be placing 2 stitches into each one of the stitches around so that we have 12 stitches around the eye. 3, Alrighty, and then once we have our 12 stitches, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we are going to fasten off our yarn, and we're going to go ahead and just close off this edge as I do with all the pieces here. We just take our needle and we go in to the second stitch from where we're located, and we go up through the center and bring it down. And there you go. And what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to make 1 more of these for our 2 eyes. We're going to go ahead and place our eyes. They're going to be between rounds 12 and 16. So 3, 2, 1, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12. So about right there. We're going to go ahead and pin them in place for now. Again, we want 6 stitches visible, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so it's going to go right about here. 2, 3, 4, so right about there is good. And again, between rounds 12 and 16. And we're going to go ahead and sew our eyes in place. I'm just going to use a back stitch method to sew these on. I'm going to take our yarn. I'm going to use this one here. And just go down, bring it up. Careful not to stab yourself with the pin. Take that out because I would stab myself. And I'm just going to bring these around. So go ahead and sew both your eyes on and then come on back. Okay, now that we are back and we have our eyes, we're going to go ahead and take our snout and we're going to place our snout on the face, and it's going to be between rounds 15, I'm going to go ahead and pin it into place, and rounds 20. I'm going to leave 21 and 22 down here at the bottom. Now if you end up sewing down into 21, that is okay. We are going to stuff the snout as we get it sealed, but right now stuffing it is a little bit harder to do as we don't have anything actually to stuff into with it just laying on there. But we're going to go ahead and take our needle and we are going to go ahead and backstitch on our snout much like we did with the eyes, and you are going to be bringing up the top of the snout into between the eyes. Bring this up. Now we have just a little bit of opening here. We're just going to very, very gently stuff the nose. We're going to go ahead and continue closing off. Then once we get back to the edge, where we started. We're going to go ahead and we are going to fasten off. I like to bring it up in, make sure it's on there nice and good. We're good. And then I like to just bring it through a couple times, make sure it's nice and secure. And then I just bring it down in the bottom, into the center, and then I just pull through. And there you go, we have our nose attached. Now we're going to go ahead and we are going to have a little stuffing. Can I get that in there still? Oh. Alright, I'm going to want to go ahead and I missed the stitch, so I'm just going to fix that really quick and I will be right back. Okay. Now that I fixed my little mistake there, what we're going to do is we're going to take black yarn. We need just a small little piece of this, and we're just going to make some quick little nostrils on there. So we're going to go ahead and take some black yarn with our needle. You don't need a whole lot. If you're using safety eyes and you don't want to use black yarn just for these nostrils, or you don't have any scrap yarn on hand, you can use just a small piece of your light pink for the contrast here. But to make the nostrils, we're just going to simply put in 2 little stitches. We're going to follow right around the stitch and try to keep it pretty even. And I usually just go in and then I bring it up, and then I just bring it up to about where we are, and then I'll bring it back in the center, and I'll just simply tie a knot so that they stay put. And you have your nostrils. Now we're going to go ahead and we are going to add on the whites of the eyes. Now you can either needle felt or you can use yarn. I'm going to use white yarn for this tutorial. However, I will be having a tutorial on my page here in the coming weeks about how to needle felt on accents to amigurumi, including into the eyes. So keep an eye out for that. Now to make the whites of these eyes, we are going to go ahead and we are just going to take our needle and we are going to make in, we want to make the kawaii eyes, which is a cute style. So we're going to have a couple of circles here into each eye. So we're going to go ahead and take the white yarn and we're just going to surface embroider. You can go into the entire eye or you can just do a little bit. And we're going to do big circles up at the top. And I am just bringing in the stitches and just making some very, very simple stitches. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bring it down, and that is one. And now we're going to add in 2 little circles underneath. So we're going to just add in one there. Then we're going to go over a couple more stitches and we're going to add in another little white spot here. And then we're just going to pull through. And sometimes it doesn't come through the way that you'd like it at first. You just go ahead and take your yarn and you just come up and you clean it up. And all of these yarn ends are going to be on the inside of the pig's head, so don't worry about them too much. But we need to round this out just a little bit, so we're going to go ahead and bring this up just one more time. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to pull in one more. And that should do it for this eye. And there you go. We have our one kawaii eye. And we're going to go ahead and do the same thing over to this eye here. So just make stitches around until you're happy with how it looks. And just embroider them on in. And there you go. There we have our kawaii style eyes. Now we're going to go ahead and take our head and we're going to go ahead and sew it to the body. Now keep in mind we are going to have to stuff the head some more as we go. And then to sew it to our body, all we are going to do is just take our yarn, thread our needle, we're going to line it up with the back of the body, which is where you can see the little, that is how you know it's your join stitch. And we are just going to whip stitch around, and if we need to fill any stuffing as we go, we're just going to slowly stuff as we come around. And we're going to just go ahead and into each stitch we're just going to stitch. Don't worry about the stuffing, we can stuff it once we get some closure, but we are just going to go and whip stitch around. We're going to do this around the entire head. And there is 36 stitches on each pieces, so we will have a nice even finish as we come back around. Okay, and once we get to the back and we have a little bit of a section open, what we're going to do is we're just going to fill in any stuffing that we need. As you can see, I still need quite a bit of stuffing in here, so we're going to go ahead and grab our stuffing and just stuff it down into the body or into the head as needed. Trying not to overstuff, but you do want to stuff. Okay, and once we have our pig together, we're going to go ahead and just fasten off. And you know me, I like to bring it in to a couple stitches and just make sure it's nice and secure so that nothing comes apart, especially since it's a seam. And then once I have it in a couple, I'm just going to go ahead and bring it back down into the body and bring it out somewhere random and just clip off the extra. Alright, and now that we've got that, we have our pig body done. Okay, to make the ears, we're going to go ahead and work in our body colored yarn, and we're going to be working in 2 rows. So we're going to go ahead and make a slip stitch, and then we're going to go ahead and chain 2. Now we're going to work 2 single crochet into the second chain from the hook for row 1. Now we're going to go ahead and chain 1 and turn. For row 2, we're going to go ahead and work 2 single crochet into the first stitch, and then we're going to work a single crochet into the next stitch. And we're going to go ahead and chain 1 and we're going to turn. For row 3, we're going to go ahead and place 2 single crochet into that first stitch, and then we're going to place a single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. So 1 and 2. Now we're going to go ahead and chain 1 and we're going to turn. So for row 4, we're going to go ahead and place 2 single crochet into the first stitch, and then we're going to place a single crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. So 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to chain 1 and we're going to turn. Now for row 5, we're going to go ahead and place 2 single crochet into that first stitch, and then we're going to single crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then we're going to go ahead and chain 1 and turn. Now for row 6, we're going to go ahead and place 2 single crochet into that first stitch, and then we're going to single crochet into each of the next 5 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we're going to go ahead and we are going to chain 1 and turn. Now for round 7, we're going to go ahead and place 2 single crochet into that first stitch. And then we're going to go ahead and single crochet into each of the next 5 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we're going to go ahead and place 2 single crochet into that last stitch. So we're going to do 1 and 2. And now we're going to go ahead and chain 1 and turn. So for row 8, we're going to go ahead and place 2 single crochet into that first stitch. And then we're going to go ahead and single crochet into the next 7 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And now we're going to go ahead and place 2 single crochet into that last stitch. We're going to go ahead and chain 1 and we're going to turn. So for row 9, we're going to go ahead and place 2 single crochet into that first stitch. So 1, 2, and then we're going to go ahead and single crochet in the next 10 stitches. 2, 5, 9, and 10. Now we're going to go ahead and chain 1, and we're going to turn. For row 10, we're going to go ahead and place 2 single crochet into that first stitch. And then we're going to go ahead and single crochet into the next 11 stitches. We're going to go ahead and chain 1 and turn. Now for row 11, we're going to go ahead and place 2 single crochet into that first stitch. And then we're going to go ahead and single crochet into each of the next 12 stitches. And 12. Now we're going to go ahead and chain 1 and turn. Now for row 12, we're just going to place a single crochet into each of the stitches across. So we're going to have 14 single crochet going across. Six, 13 and 14. And now what we're going to go ahead and do once we place this last stitch is we're going to go ahead and fasten off. And we're going to leave a long tail so that we can sew. And we're going to go ahead and make another ear. So we're going to have 2 of these. We're going to go ahead and take our pig and we're going to sew to the sides of the head between rounds 3 and 13 approximately. So here's round 1, 2, 3. So we're going to do rounds 3 and then we're going to do to round 13. And very careful to only go through the bottom edge we're just going to go ahead and sew them on. Just by whip stitching around. Okay, and once we have our ears sewn on, we're just going to go ahead and play around with them. He has a little bit of personality, so we can have one ear kind of sticking up, or we can fold it down however we want to, but we have our ears on. Okay, we're going to go ahead and add cheeks to our pig. You can do this in numerous ways. You can use blush, pastels, paint, you can needle felt them on with some pink roving, or you can just take some pink yarn. I'm going to use another pink here that I just have a little bit of a scrap yarn left, but any kind of yarn pink that you have, or any method, and we're just going to add some cheeks. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just make a couple stitches here underneath his eye and off to the side for some nice rosy pink cheeks. Now this is pretty easy to do. I'm just going to go ahead and do it on each side. Just make a couple stitches and nothing fancy. I have my end here. Very similar to how you stitched in with the eyes. Now what I would normally do is I would normally just needle felt these on. I find it gives it a nice little edge without being too bulky. And then we're just going to go ahead and bring this through to the other side, and we're just going to repeat the same thing. And once you're happy with how the cheeks look, I'm going to bring another stitch on over there. I usually just bring out the yarn in a random spot, same as I've been doing as I finish everything off. I'm just going to bring it out there. I'm just going to add another little stitch over here. I need all of this. This was my piece of yarn that I had. It was just a little itty scrap I had in my bin. Alright, and then we're just going to bring this in here, and we're just going to bring it right back out and try to come through the same hole. And we're just going to pull it through, and I'm just going to make a tiny little knot. Now I'm just going to cut it really close to the head, and I'm actually going to just go ahead and poke that through using the eye of my needle, and squeeze it and poke it, and there you go, we have our cheeks on our pig. Okay, to make our legs, we're going to go ahead and take our accent color yarn. We are going to be working into the round, and we're going to be stuffing as we go. To start off, we're going to go ahead and make a magic ring, and we're going to place 6 single crochets into that magic ring. So 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. And we're going to go ahead and pull close. Now for round 2, we're going to go ahead and place 2 single crochets into each one of the stitches around. We're going to have 12 stitches at the end of round 2. So 1. At the end of round 2, we're going to go ahead and start round 3. Round 3, we're going to go ahead and place 2 single crochet into the first stitch. And then we're going to go ahead and single crochet into the next stitch. And we're going to repeat that 5 more times until we hit our stitch marker. And we're going to end the round with 18 stitches. Okay, at the end of round 3 we have 18 stitches. We're going to go ahead and start on round 4. For round 4, we're going to go ahead and place 2 single crochet into that first stitch. And then we're going to single crochet into the next 2 stitches. And we're going to go ahead and repeat that 5 more times around till we hit our stitch marker. So we're going to do 2 single crochet followed by 2 single crochet. Okay, at the end of round 4 we have 24 stitches around. For round 5 we're going to be working into the back loops only, and we're going to go ahead and place a single crochet into each one of the stitches around. So we're going to end up with 24 stitches worked into the back loops. Okay, for round 6, we're going to go ahead and working under both loops, we're going to go ahead and place a single crochet into each stitch around. And we're going to have 24 stitches at the end of the round. On the last stitch, we're going to go ahead and change into our main color yarn. At the end of round 6, we change to our main color, and we're going to go ahead and fasten off our accent color. We're going to go ahead and thread the needle, and we're going to go ahead and bring it through the starting round of the magic circle. And we're just going to go ahead and leave it there for right now. We will be going back to this. For rounds 7 through 9, we're going to go ahead and just place a single crochet into each stitch around. So we're going to have 3 rounds total of 24 stitches in our body color. Okay, and at the end of round 9, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start round 10. Round 10, we're going to go ahead and single crochet the first 2 stitches together, and then we're going to single crochet into the next 6 stitches. Three, 4, 5, and 6, and we're going to go ahead and repeat this 2 more times around till we hit our stitch marker. So we're going to single crochet 2 together, and then we're going to single crochet 6 times. Rounds 11 and 12, we're just going to single crochet into each stitch around. We'll have 2 rounds of 21 stitches. Okay, for round 13, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and single crochet the first 2 stitches together, and then we're going to single crochet into each of the next 5 stitches. So we're just going to mark this. 1, alright, we're going to go ahead and repeat that 2 more times until we hit the stitch marker. Okay, at the end of round 13, we have 18 stitches. What we're going to go ahead and do for rounds 14 through 18 is we're going to go ahead and place a single crochet into each stitch around. We're going to have 5 rounds total of 18 stitches. Okay, when we hit the end of round 18, we're just going to go ahead and fasten off our yarn, leaving a long tail to sew. We're going to go ahead and stuff our yarn, and we're going to stuff it down to about halfway full, somewhere around round 9. Now we're going to go ahead and take our accent yarn, we're going to thread our needle, and we're going to go ahead and we are going to take our needle and place it after the last pink stitch made, or the accent stitch made, and we're going to go ahead and bring it back through our center, and we're going to pull tightly. And we're going to go ahead and do this a few times. About 2 more times. And we're going to go ahead and pull tight, and that gives us our little split in our hoof. And then we're just going to take this, just weave it in. And bring it back up. And just clip all the extra. And that is our foot. We're going to go ahead and now pinch together with the indent. We're going to pinch it together so that that is the top of our flag. We're going to go ahead and take our needle, and we're going to take our main color, and we're just going to go ahead and we're going to seam these closed, just stitching into each stitch. And again, this is going to be even with the seam. I'm just going to close it on up. We're going to take our second leg, we're going to do the same. And we're going to go ahead and take our pig and we're going to sew our legs to the side between rounds 9 and 17. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So right there, it'll be 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So we're just going to go ahead and sew our legs off on the side and attach them to our pig. To attach our legs, we're just going to go ahead and take our needle and we're just going to whip stitch around the legs onto the stitches of the body as such. Once I have it stitched on, we're just going to go ahead and weave in the end as such. Alright, then we're going to go ahead and attach our other leg on the other side, same way as we did this one. Okay, and after we have both our legs sewn on and he can sit, we're going to go ahead and move on to the arms. Okay, to make the arms, we're going to go ahead and take our accent color yarn. We're going to be working into the round. So we're going to go ahead and start a magic ring. And we're going to go ahead and place 6 single crochet into that magic ring. I'm going to go ahead and pull it closed. And now for round 2, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and place 2 single crochet into each one of these stitches around. We're going to wind up with 12 stitches. We're going to go ahead and start round 3. Round 3, we're going to go ahead and place 2 single crochet into that first stitch. Then we're going to single crochet into that next stitch. And we're going to go ahead and repeat this 5 more times around until we hit the stitch marker. We're going to single crochet 2 and then single crochet 1. Okay, now we're back at the end of round 3. We have 18 stitches. Now for round 4, we're going to go ahead and work into the back loop only. We're going to place a single crochet into each stitch around. We're going to end up with 18 single crochet in the back loops. And we're back at round 5. For round 5, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and place a single crochet into each stitch around. We're going to be changing to our body color on the last stitch. We're going to have 18 stitches. When we get back to the beginning of round 5, we're going to go ahead and fasten off our accent yarn. And just like we did on the legs, we're going to go ahead and thread our needle. And we're going to go ahead and bring it back out the center. And we'll be getting back to this later on. For rounds 6 through 15, we're going to go ahead and just single crochet in each stitch around. We're going to have 10 rounds of 18 stitches. So just go ahead and start working your rounds. Okay, at the end of round 15, we're going to go ahead and stuff our arm. We're going to stuff it firmer down towards the hoof or the hand. Okay. We will not be stuffing the arm anymore past this point. So make sure we stuff it. Okay. For round 16, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to single crochet 2 together. And we're going to single crochet into the next 4 stitches. So 1, 4. And we're going to go ahead and repeat this 2 more times until we hit our stitch marker. So we're going to single crochet 2 together and then single crochet into the next 4 stitches. Okay, at the end of round 16, we have 15 stitches. For round 17 through 28, we are going to just single crochet into each stitch around. We're going to have 12 rounds of 15 stitches. So go ahead and just start working your rounds. Okay, and at the end of round 28, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to fasten off. We're going to go ahead and leave a long tail so that we can sew our arms on. We're going to go ahead and take our accent colored yarn. We're going to thread it on our needle, and just like we did for the legs, we're going to go ahead and bring it through and pull tight, and we're going to do that 3 times. Now we're not going to cut it off on one of our arms, but on the other one of our arms we're going to go ahead and cut that off. And what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to even with the crease, we're going to go ahead and thread our yarn just like we did with the legs, and we're going to go ahead and close them off. We started about halfway down, so we're going to have to come back through and just seam it up nice and neatly. And we're going to go ahead and sew the arms on the body between rounds 23 and 30. So right around there. We're going to go ahead and angle them slightly, just as such. Now when we go ahead and sew these on, we're going to want to make sure they sit kind of down and that they're even. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to seam together the 2 to hold the heart. Now if you don't want to seam them together and you don't want him holding a heart, it's okay to just leave them as is, but we want them to hold the heart. So we're going to go ahead and make sure we get them seamed on. And we're just going to go ahead and take our yarn, and we're just going to whip stitch around just like we did for the legs, and just seam them up together. And then there's one leg, or one arm. We're just going to go ahead and I usually weave it in a couple, and then I'll just bring it out and around, and we'll just snip that off. And we're going to go ahead and do the same. Now what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and take our stitch that we have left on the accent stitch here, and we're going to go ahead and thread that on our needle, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to just sew around a couple times. We're going to whip stitch the arms together, going into that middle stitch and bringing it back out about 2, right about there. We're just going to do this. I'm just going to pull tightly, and what this is going to do is when we have our heart, it's going to hug it. So just kind of work it. And we have our pig with our arms, and there you go. Okay, to make our tail, we're going to go ahead and grab our body colored yarn. We're going to make a slip stitch. We're going to go ahead and chain 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. we're going to go ahead and place 3 single crochet into the second chain from the hook. 2 and 3. Now we're going to go ahead and place 3 single crochet into the remaining 8 stitches. So 3 and 3 in the next stitch, and so on and so forth till we hit the end of the row. Okay, when we hit the end of the row, we're going to go ahead and fasten off our yarn and leave a long tail for sewing. Pull our yarn through, and what we're going to do is we're going to sew the tail on the body between rounds 11 and 12. So remember, we started the legs on 9, so 9, 10, 11, and 12. So the tail is going to go right around here, and we're just going to go ahead and tack that on in the center of the back. And there we have our tail. And we have our tail attached. Okay, to go ahead and make our cardboard wrapped heart that Plorp is holding in his arms, you're going to take our cardboard and you're going to want to cut out a heart shape. Now I find tracing it helps. You can also cut this out if you have a Cricut machine. You can always cut out a perfect heart. Just go ahead and do that. And you're going to want to use scissors. And you're going to want to just cut out. Now you notice I'm not using my yarn scissors for this. That's because my yarn scissors only cut yarn. You can use whatever scissors you have, obviously. I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to cut our heart shape. And this is going to be the support for inside, and you just want to make sure that it can go underneath, as you can see here, and he'll be hugging it. Now he'll be hugging this wrapped in yarn. Now how we're going to go ahead and do that is we're just going to take our Aran yarn, we're just going to go ahead and put it, we're either going to cut just a little wedge in there, and we're just going to go ahead and we're just going to start wrapping the cardboard around. I'm just going to wrap it, and then we're just going to go ahead and we're going to wrap it around, and you're just going to continue to do this until you cover the heart. And I'm going to go ahead and do a couple more stitches, and then we're just going to that should be good. I'm just going to go ahead and cut just a little bit, and we're going to go ahead and take our needle and our thread. We're going to go ahead and we are going to just weave in the ends. Just as such. And the good thing about this is because it's to mimic a yarn ball, it does not have to be perfect. I'm just going to go ahead and tuck this in underneath. And then we're just going to go ahead and just snip off the extra. And just kind of fluff it around a little bit so it gets to where it is. And then we're just going to go ahead and we're just going to wrap it in his arms. And he is holding on to his yarn heart. And there you have it. You have your Plorp the pig. I would love to see your finished Plorp, so make sure that you tag me on social media when you share that, or send me a picture at any one of my platforms or an email. Add it to your Ravelry project. I would be greatly appreciative, and don't forget to like, comment, and share the video below if you'd like to see more videos in the future.